Our clients in the last year have generated more than $25 million.
The great thing about Facebook ads too is it's really time leverage.
Better than anything I've ever seen is doing more video-based ads. Instead of forcing sales, now we're creating the conditions where sales come to us.
Make sure that you're putting money behind stuff that actually would.
Ben, for example, for you, how many patients do you pull in a month just from your website? Hey, good morning and happy new year to all of those who are following the Cash Physical Therapy Headquarters podcast and Facebook community and YouTube channel. Today, we're going to be talking about the top marketing strategies of 2025, what you need to be aware of in order to win and stay ahead of the curve as more and more cash practices are opening faster than they ever have. If you want to stand out and you want to grow and scale with less effort, you're definitely going to want to pay attention to this podcast. So if you get value out of this episode today, don't forget to like and subscribe and follow us for more strategies on what's working today in the world of growing and scaling cash physical therapy businesses. As always, I'm here with my partner in crime, Dr. Ben Boggy. What's happening, man?
Not much. Excited for the new year. Fresh start. So
that's right. 2024 didn't end too bad. It was a crazy year. So many things happened. So many things in the marketing world happened. So many things started to change and evolve with consumer behavior. And the world is just in a crazy place in 2024, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, I think after being been in business now for a little over 6 years, I think it was the most chaotic and most changed, like the most year that changed the most. Like from consumer behavior, from recruitment and hiring, it's a completely different ballgame. So it really created a lot of shifts in the industry for sure.
Right. And there's a ton of businesses that didn't make it. There's a lot of practices and online coaching businesses that did not make it through the turmoil that was 2024. So if you're listening to this right now and you're still fighting, you're still kicking, your business is still operating, and especially if it's been profitable, just know that you got some serious stuff because it was a tough year. And for those of you who did get through the whole thing, we were really teed up for an incredible year in 2025. A lot of things have changed that we all want to be aware of, but those who take advantage of these changes are really going to have one hell of a year. We're really excited about it, and we're pumped to chat about it today. So like I said, we're going to be talking about the 3 primary marketing strategies that cash practices need to be tripling down on moving into 2025. So to kind of give a little bit of context, some of the things that changed in 2024 were that we have officially entered a trust recession. People trust their neighbors, especially other businesses, less than they ever have before. People have been bombarded over the last several years with all these super flashy offers, with all these promises and all these different advertising, trying to just pull people in different directions. And the market has just become so jaded towards businesses who are just pushing sales just left and right rather than demonstrating real value beforehand. And so people today, we've found they really aren't buying things the way that it used to be, that you could just run a simple ad to a landing page and we'd get patients to be booking calls. But now we're seeing that lead to booking rate slowly start to drop down, and it's getting harder and harder to get a hold of people and get people on the phone because they simply do not trust us. And so brands need to be aware of this and to start to make changes to the way that they market and the different channels that they're advertising on to start to build trust and demonstrate value before a phone call actually takes place. And those who do this, who do provide value, who educate their audience, who not just trying to be like an influencer online, but being a true leader within their community, they're really positioned to dominate here in 2025. And so I think that's the biggest difference between what we've been used to the last several years and 2024. People are just way more sophisticated buyers than they ever have been, and they're sick of being sold. People are transitioning from that old model where you just put an offer out there, get on a phone call, and then get someone to buy, just doesn't really exist anymore. People today are doing way more research. They're looking at your ad. Maybe they're opting in, but they don't want to talk to you yet. They're checking out your website. They're reading your reviews. They're going to your Instagram or your YouTube channel. They're watching your content. Then they're seeing another ad, and then they're ready to talk to you. But people don't want to talk to you until they already know that you've already given them value and they know, like, and trust you. And that might be scary for some people, but we've actually put together a system that's working incredibly well. Anything to add to that, Ben?
No, I just think on top of the head with regards to people are just less trusting, and it's even more important to make sure that you are active on social media, that you are collecting Google reviews, because people checking those out and vetting you much more than they ever have before. And so I'm excited to talk about that a little bit today too.
Right. And so don't be afraid of that. This is a tremendous opportunity for the physical therapy industry in general, just to really spearhead the mass education, what physical therapy is and can actually be, especially in cash physical therapy for consumers that are out there. So don't be deterred by this. Whenever there's change that's happening, it's massive opportunity. And those who take advantage of it and dive in head first are going to have an incredible year and be teed up for success over the next several years as they continue to build these assets online that produce patients for them evergreen, organically, forever, as the algorithms continue to push your value content out there to more and more people. So let's talk about the first strategy. Okay, number one is Facebook ads. Okay, Facebook ads have continued to be the most profitable way to acquire patients at scale without needing to rely on your time, your hustle, your effort to be able to generate those patients. But the strategies have changed a little bit. So we're still seeing that the most effective strategies are advertising paid vouchers, basically to get people in the door, but deterring the freebie seekers who aren't in the place in their wellness journey where they're ready to invest actual cash. They still need to go through the traditional channels. They still don't understand why anyone would not use their insurance, just because they don't have the context and the background and the experience to understand the huge differences between the two of those. And so we're using paid vouchers between $47 and $97 to bring us leads for around $20 to $30. And then we're booking evaluations for about $100 each. And so with this, we're still seeing that this strategy is pulling in, 3 to 6x return on ad spend. But we found that it does reach a ceiling, and to grow and scale beyond that, where you're doing, getting to $10,000 a month, you can get there with that strategy. Absolutely no problem. But in order to scale to 20K and 30K and 50K and beyond, that's when we're starting the pressure from this trust recession, where we're starting to push our ads in front of more and more skeptical audiences. Well, now we need a better system to demonstrate value to these people prior to them ever actually booking. And so what we're finding works the absolute best and better than anything I've ever seen is doing more video-based ads that demonstrate value, that solve very specific problems for very specific pockets of patient population. And so we put these videos out there with some budget behind it to show it to the masses within our community. And then the people that watch our content, now we're retargeting them with the offer that we have for that particular population. So by the time we're inviting them to talk with us, they've already watched several of our strategic videos, highlight the problem that they're experiencing, that build our authority and help build the gap between where they are and where they want to be, so that they can understand the nuanced difference between in-network care versus cash-based care. And so that's really the biggest changes that you're going to want to be mindful of in 2025 for Facebook ads.
Yeah, the great thing about Facebook ads too is it's really time leveraged. Like with workshops and stuff like that, it just takes so much upfront legwork, and it takes time to build those relationships versus the Facebook ads. Especially starting out, it can be a great avenue. I know it's scary, but it can be a great avenue. And you go, like Jordan said, go from 0 to 10,000 pretty quickly. Right. Yeah, a couple clicks. So.
Right. I mean, our clients in the last year have generated more than $25 million on the foundation that Facebook ads have been able to provide them. And so, fearful of investing in Facebook ads, or you feel like you need to be at a certain point in your practice before investing in Facebook ads, I strongly encourage you to save up some of your revenue so that you can start to invest in Facebook ads, because the practices who are steamrolling the ones who aren't. And very quickly, the more established practices who have been doing just pure organic marketing for a really long time, they're starting to notice that these new cash practices are stealing a ton of their market share. And now they're contacting us wanting to get involved because they're starting to see this advantage that their competitors are now having over them and being able to reach consumers faster than they're able to, especially because they're able to build a strong connection with those people through the video content that they're pushing with their ads, making it harder for competitors to come in and steal them because they already know, like, and trust this other provider.
Yeah. And I think it's, I think that's where also doing the short form video content can help too, because it's going to help you stand out because like you said, there's cash practices popping up everywhere. And I know other agencies are just pumping out the single photo, and it's hard. That's easy to replicate, right? It's hard to replicate your actual video, face, meaner, stuff like that.
100%. And so like the videos that are working the best with paid ads, we're not just talking about organic short form video. That's a different animal that we'll talk about here in a minute. But the ads that you're pushing out there, there's three types. There's value-based content where you're helping solve a very specific problem, putting your unique spin on false beliefs that consumers might have, talking about bad advice that your patient population might be getting from other providers that are out there, or demonstrating ways for consumers to actually solve their problems right then and there. So that's one type of video. The other type of video is social proof, where you're actually doing testimonial videos with your clients, where you're talking about like where they're at before working with us, what is stopping them from doing, what is life like now that they've gone through treatment, and what was basically their experience like. So very short 60-second videos for demonstrating value, or interviewing your patients, or actually sharing the story of your patients. We found that those have actually outperformed the actual testimonials at times, when you're just sitting down telling the story of a patient that you recently helped and the struggle that they had and where you're able to get them. So that's part number two. The third type is your unique method. Okay, what does your unique treatment approach actually look like? Kind of take them behind the scenes of the day in the life of, how is it, like, who do you work with? What's step one? Getting them out of pain. What's step two? Solving the root cause of their problem, so it's actually solved and doesn't come back a few weeks or months later. And then number three, maybe it's performance and pain prevention long term. So breaking down what exactly it looks like. So we have the awareness stage, where we're building up value and trust with that style of content. Now we're validating and increasing the belief that works through social proof content and testimonial videos and sharing reviews. And then we're helping them see and understand that this will also work for them by breaking down our unique process. And so we're hitting on very specific psychological levers that guide viewers of our content and our ads through the buying process, getting them ready to talk to us. That's why by the time they talk to us, ready to book. That's one of the biggest differences with this new strategy, is that the people who are opting into our ads, our booking rates going through the roof because of this, because they've watched our content and they already know they want to talk to us and they know they want to work with us long term. And so using these videos, it hasn't really changed our cost per lead at all, but our lead to booking rate with this has now gone through the roof, and our package conversion rates has gone up because people are showing up much more bought in, much less skeptical than they were using the previous strategy that we've used for the last 3 to 4 years.
Yeah, it's also a great way to create content that addresses objections that they're having in their head. Yep. And so you're able to overcome those before you even get on a call, which makes them more warm too.
Right. And so what Ben and I are really explaining to all of you is the market is transitioning, and what's working for businesses is transitioning from a sales process where you're getting leads and you're just calling them repeatedly to get them on the phone, to then leverage, a powerful sales script to use motivational interviewing to get people to say yes. And so it's a very sales driven acquisition strategy. And what's working now, because people are so burnt out from that, is a value-led sales strategy where we are allowing people to learn about us, go through our stuff, engage with our content before they're making a purchasing decision. And so instead of forcing sales, now we're creating the conditions where sales come to us through the content that we're pushing out there. And so this doesn't mean that you have to start posting every single day in your practice, but I would start to make that a part of your ongoing plan. We've been doing for our clients who don't have time to change their entire week's schedule to create more content, is we're producing those 3 core video types, then we're running them as ads, and we're optimizing to get a 1 cent through play. That means for every time we spend 1 cent, we get one person to watch at least 15 seconds of our video. And so if you run ads to a video and your cost per through play is really, really high, that means it's not a good and engaging video. And so you want to keep producing videos, maybe 1 to 2 a week, until you find one video that you can optimize and get to 1 cent per through play. That is an ad that you can scale to the moon, and then you can retarget people who have viewed that with your offers. That's how you're going to build these massive retargeting audiences of people who already know, like, and trust you, and then place your offer in front of them when they're ready. So that's really the breakdown of how Facebook is evolving into 2025. If you want to remain competitive, if you want to make it difficult for your competition to steal your ads and the creatives you're using, start creating content. Start creating videos, outlining your process, helping people for free, and pushing that content out to your community, then remarketing to them with a specific paid voucher.
Yep, I love it. And then with regards to short form content, does that change for organic versus paid? And how do you go about that?
Yeah, short form video is now king. Okay, every single platform has modified their entire strategy and user retention strategy entirely based around short form video. And so just to give you all a little bit of like context around this, like ever since TikTok exploded, it completely changed the algorithm for how short form content works. Because originally platforms like YouTube and Instagram, their short form strategy was entirely based around how many followers do you have, and then your videos got shown to your followers. And so everyone was playing a game of getting as many followers as humanly possible, because more followers meant more views meant more sales. They have switched their entire strategy because TikTok came in and obliterated the competition and took the crown of short form video, because their algorithm is based off of an audience match algorithm, not how many followers you have. It was basically so that if you make a video for a very specific niche, it's going to try to show your next video to people who are similar to those who watched your first video. And so they created an algorithm where your short form content can go viral very, very quickly, because it's not just showing it to your followers, it's showing to people with interests similar to the video that you just created and to those who watched that first video. And so on TikTok, you're able to stack up thousands and hundreds of thousands and millions of views very, very quickly, because their algorithm was designed to show your videos to the masses, not just people who showed interest in you specifically. And so Instagram has now adopted this. YouTube has now adopted this. And it's been so successful that LinkedIn in 2024 now created their own short form video platform. And so short form is exploding. And because of these changes, it makes it possible for small businesses with very few followers to make a fortune through short form video, because of how this algorithm is now set up to show your videos to more non-followers so that people can discover you much more easily. And so in 2025, you want to start to build your arsenal of long form acquisition assets, your short form videos, and produce at least 1 to 2 of those every single week, and allow those to compound over time to continue to produce patients for you. Is that clear? You got a question on that, Ben?
No. I guess I know one thing is people's time is going to be the thing that they feel is going to get in the way.
Yep.
What are some things that you found, whether it's like AI or editing, that you found to be helpful for people?
Yeah. So if you're just getting started with short form content, just know that it's more important to get started than to try to make things perfect. Okay. Quantity produces quality. And so the most important thing is to just get started. Think about the most common pain points that your patients have had and start to produce videos to answer those questions and to solve those problems. Just 1 or 2 of those a week. They only have to be 60 to 90-second videos. It's very easy to come up with. And don't try to become this creative genius. Okay. Don't try to be a creative genius. Go on Instagram. And what you can do is, because Instagram, because of this, they've been really focusing on their becoming kind of like a search engine. So if you go into your app and into the Instagram app, go to search and just type in knee pain relief. Okay. You'll find, and then you can filter it by reels specifically. And you want to find outlier pieces of content that other physical therapists or chiropractors or personal trainers have already made for solving knee pain, if that's the audience that you want to target with your Instagram channel. And so you want to find the outliers, but we don't really care about views. Okay. In 2025, people are transitioning from wanting influencers to wanting actual leaders. Okay. And so what I mean by that is people want people that provide genuine, real value in their content. And so we don't need to worry about editing. Really basic videos are now outperforming that retention edited, highly produced video, because people don't trust those anymore. They just want authentic people providing real value. And so you don't need to edit your videos like crazy anymore. And nor do we want to go after just a ton of views within our videos, because we only want people to watch our videos who are actually a good fit for us. And so there's actually a way for us to find that out. So when you're searching through if you search need pain relief and filter it by reels on Instagram, you want to find the outliers that have the most views, yes, but you want to find the ones that have the highest view to share ratio. Shares are the number one indicator or the number one ranking factor for the Instagram and TikTok and YouTube algorithm. Shares that go directly through the DMs. That's the number one ranking factor, because the business, whenever you share a video, that is a new potential user for the platform. And it also means that this has high viewership, so it's going to retain people better. And so videos who get shared more often are the ones that Instagram is going to push to a ton of people. And so when you're looking for inspiration to model, find the videos with the most views, but then filter through them based off of how many shares they actually have. Those are the videos that you want to save and catalog for inspiration and then remake by putting your own twist on it. Now, when you're watching these, you want to pay close attention to the hook of the video. That is the most important component of the entire thing. Find the videos with the most shares and then study their hooks. What happens in the first 3 seconds of the video? That is the main thing that you want to model. And then the body, that's where you want to innovate, where you're kind of sharing your own perspective and expertise on how to solve the promise of the hook that you just made. And so finding 1 or 2 great videos a week and then just taking 10 minutes to basically write a quick outline, write down the hook, write down the key bullet points that you want to say in your video, and then just sitting down with your phone and just recording it doesn't have to take a lot of time. You can make 1 or 2 videos a week in under an hour a week, no problem.
Is there a strategy for like brick and mortar? So regards to like if this short form goes viral and you've got a clinic in, I don't know, Oklahoma, and somebody in, South Carolina sees it, wants to become a new patient, it doesn't do as much for you. Does it have to be telehealth and you have to be licensed in that state? Is there like strategies that people can do to make sure that it's being shown to people that are able to actually come in for a session?
Yep, 100%. So there's a couple different things. One, in your Instagram account, you can set your location, and there are ranking factors for proximity for local businesses. But honestly, it's not going to do a whole lot. You're still going to find that a lot of comments, a lot of views, a lot of shares are happening from people outside of the country. And so for local businesses, basically, we want to use the global market as our testing ground for what is going to work within our local community. And so we want to post on a consistent basis, trying to find which videos that we create hit on the right pain points with the right avatar that has the highest view to share ratio. And when we know which ones get the most shares, we want to triple down on making more content like that. Then those are the videos that we want to then push with our paid ads to centralize it within our local community. And so we're basically using the organic short form strategy to determine what is going to be our most profitable ad to be running, while we're also building the credibility and the exposure for that when people do see our ads and they're not ready to talk to us just yet, but they go and look at your Instagram profile, they see this interaction, this engagement that you're getting on a global scale, increasing their belief that you are truly an authority on this topic, and therefore, the best person to go for help within their local community. And so you bring up a good point, but paid ads are how you solve that problem.
Make sure that you're putting money behind stuff that actually works.
Right. Exactly. So every single thing that we run as ads, we post organically first, and we're paying very close attention to various metrics that each video gets. Every single video, we're tracking the metrics that are on there, and then the outliers, we're basically reproducing. And so you don't want to have a really wide breadth of content, okay? Like you might work with a lot of different patient populations, but the way the algorithm works is it likes specificity. It likes niches. And so when you first get started, create content, and I'm going to explain why in a second. Create content for one particular population of people. It could be professional men who love CrossFit or new moms who love to run experiencing pain. Pick a particular niche. I would recommend choosing the one that represents the most amount of revenue that is being brought into the business or represent the greatest lifetime value for your practice, and making content specifically for them. Here's why. That audience match algorithm that I explained moments ago, we can create this multiplier effect where each video is going to compound and get more and more views by focusing on the same same pain points in the same person. Because again, Instagram is trying to show your next video to people who are similar or who have already watched your previous video. And so if one day you make a video about runners and the next day it's about CrossFit and the next day it's about general back pain, it's going to create no synergy between the people who are watching that video. And so when we do create videos, we want to make sure that we kind of batch them based off specific avatars. So make your next 10 videos specifically about runners, track how it works. If it's generating conversations, double down on it and keep doing it. But basically, we want to batch content until we find the populations that it's really going to connect with, and then keep making content around those. You'll find that the people who are the most successful in this game, they recreate the same video 20 different times in 20 different ways. And so content marketing can be kind of boring because you're talking about the same thing very, very often. That's how you stack up views. It's how you find what works the best and find out what ads are then going to produce you tens and hundreds of thousands of dollars within your business by having this steady, consistent stream of new content going out there that you're measuring and reproducing.
Yep, all of it.
Short form content, that is going to be the ultimate game changer in 2025. You're going to find every single practice, especially new ones who have more time, who aren't as busy as you might be. They're tripling down on short form content because you're not only making these this long-term asset, you're building an audience that if you ever want to launch an online program down the road, you can actually do that. Because you have an audience. Maybe once your practice gets to a point where it's self-sustaining like Ben's, it's like, hey, I have this massive audience and 80% of it is outside of my community. Maybe you launch an online course so that you can then sell and monetize some of that traffic, which then pays for the ads to push to your local community. And so it really is the future of advertising. We're living in a new era of social media marketing, and it all starts with building true community, demonstrating value to the masses in advance to get them to kind of guide the pace in which they choose to work with you on. That's the future.
Love it. Yeah, you want to dive into the third one, websites and Google reviews?
Yep. So no surprise, websites have continued to be the primary driver for practices once they gain their baseline. So Ben, for example, for you, how many patients do you pull in a month just from your website?
Yeah, we had in the month of November, we had over 100 leads that came from our website.
All organic, right?
Yep, all organic. And that's not paid. And they're all, I wouldn't call them, there's some that I would consider hot traffic, vast majority are warm. There's a few cold traffic leads that will come in, but they're all warm for the most part. Because again, most of them found us Google. They saw over 200 plus 5-star reviews. They read through those. And you get a lot of, obviously, social proof from that. And then they visit our website, and we have specific messaging on there that, again, validates that they're in the right place and then encourages them to opt in. And we don't just have like one option. Every buyer's at a different buying pocket, whether they are just thinking about it, they're gung-ho, they know they want to do this, or somewhere in between. There's different buttons on the website where it's, hey, like talk to a PT first. Or, hey, I want to request an appointment. Like those are the ones that are like ready to go. Then there's another button for cost and availability, right? It addresses people's concerns. Like some are like, I want to talk to a PT first because I'm not quite sure that PT can help, right? Great. We got a button for that. Hey, I'm worried about, I don't know if you take insurance and what's the cost. Great. Cost and availability button. Hey, I want to work with you guys. Great. Request an appointment. We also have on our website at the header, no matter where they're scrolling on our mobile. And that's the thing too, is you want your mobile to be different than your desktop. So for our mobile, we have a button that follows them around everywhere that they can, with one click, call us. Right. So it's a call us now button. So we get leads from that. Obviously, we're not going to do that on desktop because it's harder to, you can call through desktop if you got your phone app, right. But very few people do that. If they're on mobile, you want somewhere they can click a button. Versus on our desktop, we have a button that follows them around no matter where they're at in that header where they can opt in very easily, no matter where they're scrolling at on the platform. So that's something that we've really optimized our website from an ease of opting in standpoint. And then also we don't really talk about ourselves. We really don't talk about our clinic. We talk about them and whether they're like, who are the people that we help the most. I can see the biggest common mistake people is that do on the website. They just make it all about them. Like, oh, I went to this school. I have this certification. Patients don't care. And you can exhibit and frame the wording and make them feel like you're speaking to them. It builds authority because it makes them feel like you actually understand their problem And because they feel like you understand your problem, it builds authority because they know you've helped other people like them, that you know what they're going through. And that's obviously through experience. So that's a big mistake. And then I'm going to go on a really big tangent, not tangent, but rant here is do not put on your web. If you want more leads, do not put your cost, do not put on whether or not you take insurance. That is the number one biggest mistake, and a hill that I'll die on. At the biggest mistake that people are making with their website for those that want more leads is putting cost and insurance on their website. And the biggest thing that people say to them, why they do it, like, well, I wouldn't opt in if I want to work with somebody if they didn't have insurance or costs. Okay, not your ideal patient, and you're putting your consumers in a bucket that they're just like you. Okay. We have had over 100 people that opted in, and I guarantee that it'd probably be a fraction of that. I would say if you put cost and insurance on your website, it probably decreases opt-ins by almost 50%. I bet if we had cost insurance on our website, that we would probably only have about 60% of those opt-ins. We probably would only have probably 50 to 60 opt-ins. Right. It would cut it in half is my projection on that. And so people also will state that I don't want to waste time with people that are just worried about cost and insurance. Okay, well, it's your job to be able to leverage motivational interviewing and actually communicate your value. And you're kind of taking the easy way out by just putting cost and insurance. You're weeding people out that need your help, that don't know it, and they're just letting cost and insurance get in the way, and they don't truly understand it. And because they can't get on phone call with you, they don't understand it. And they don't understand it until you can actually get on phone call with them. So take cost and insurance information off your website if you want more leads. If you don't want leads and you want like, hey, I'm super busy, I'm super swamped, and I'm tired of patients calling in, and I don't need more new patients right now. I just only want to talk to people that want help right away, and I've got a 2 or 3 wait lists. Then I would say, yeah, put cost insurance on your website. But if you want leads and your schedule is not full, that is probably one of the biggest mistakes people are making in their practice today.
100%, because you're training people to price shop. What do we do when we used to go shopping at the mall for clothes? We'd find something that we really like, look at the price, and like, oh, that's up there. And then you find something that's kind of similar to it, but a little bit cheaper, and then you always buy that option. You are literally being the price anchor for them to buy someone else's services, which is out. And so we want to make sure like we're like Apple and other luxury brands where they don't list their prices. You have to have a conversation with them about what your rates actually are. And if you do a good job of collecting reviews, of putting valuable information on your website and speaking to the hearts and minds of your most ideal person, they're going to want to talk with you simply because, as you said, they believe that you understand their problem better than anyone else. And that's at least worth a conversation where you can then demonstrate your value and show what you're actually worth. But if people, all they have to go off of is your website and your pricing, well, then it's all going to sound and seem the same, and they're going to go with the cheapest option. And so don't put your pricing on there because it just makes you a commodity and it makes you the most expensive one.
Exactly. It's your website's never going to, well, maybe, but if you're proficient at sales, that website's never going to sell as well as you do on the phone. Right. And people are not getting the help that they need because you're too insecure to hop on a phone call with somebody because you're not proficient in sales and you know it. And so you only want to talk to the warmest leads, and you're blaming it on the leads for not being high quality enough and only wanting cost and insurance. Well, you haven't give them anything else to base it off of because you won't hop on a phone call with them. So that's my 2 cents on it. And
right. That's like dating. And if someone's not interested in you, assuming that they're just like a low quality person because they don't see your value, when it's like, you didn't even try. Right. You didn't even try to sell yourself.
Exactly.
It's like, it's never going to work.
Right. Yeah. You've just positioned yourself as a commodity, and you double down on that you're people thinking you're a commodity because you're not giving them anything else to base it on.
Right. And so I think this is actually a really good way to kind of segue back to what you're talking about, the different opt-in forms, because I think that's really important. A lot of people think that there's bad leads, and that is completely false. There's no such thing as a bad lead. It's just a person at a different stage on the buyer journey. Okay. There's awareness, there's consideration, there's decision, there's fulfillment, and then there's like the retention stage where people become actual fans. And so most people say like these are bad leads. What you're really saying is they're not the leads that I'm used to getting who are referred to me, who are already in the decision stage. A lot of the people that you're talking to are just in the awareness stage or in the consideration stage, and you're not used to having to actually prove that you're worth something. And so what Ben was talking about on the website, which is one of the easiest things you can do to get more leads through the traffic you're already getting is instead of having like a book a call now or book a discovery visit or give us a call, just one button. Okay, when we just have one call to action on our page, that only speaks to people who are already at the decision stage in the buyer journey. That, as Ben said, we have speak with a PT, request information on pricing and availability, book any, what were the other ones?
Request an appointment.
Request an appointment. I think there's 4. What was the 4th one?
The other one is we technically have 5. There's another button where they can just call if they're on mobile, calls the clinic. 5th one is where they can actually book a discovery call. So it takes them to a Calendly link where they can book a call, a free discovery call.
Yep, and pricing and availability. And so we have different call to actions on the page to speak to different stages of the buyer journey so that we're capturing that traffic, every type of traffic that the website's getting. And so that's a really, really easy way to do it. So how do we actually get people to the website? Now, as I said before, the most important thing to understand about consumer behavior today is they're not just checking out your ads and opting in. They're looking at your ads, looking at your Instagram, looking up your website and reading your reviews, then seeing your ad again, and then actually buying. And so our reviews are absolutely critical in not only selling the traffic and the people that are seeing our ads, but also getting people to the website. So Ben, how do you recommend practices generate more consistent reviews?
Just by asking. It's simple as that. Like I see people get so caught up in, I don't know how to ask. I don't want to come off this certain way. Do I need to send them a link? Do I need to do this? How do I position it? When do I ask? Just ask. Every single week, just ask. Patience. I see paralysis by analysis way too often in this. And usually when, we just had a couple clients that made a big push at the end of the year to get more reviews and they crushed it. And I'm like, what did you do? What was the number one thing that you did? We just started asking more consistently. That's all it was. It wasn't like, they sent them this fancy link. They didn't send them an email. They didn't send them a text. They didn't, ask when at the last visit or the first visit. Like it was none of that. It's just, said, they simply ask. So it's really that simple. It's just asking, and people will state that they just feel awkward asking. It's like patients want to help you. If you've made a big change in life, they want to help you any way that you can. And 99.9 are going to be patients that you ask are going to be ecstatic to leave you a review when you've made big changes in their life. So they want to help and they'll go over the moon to do it. They're actually honored when you asked. And so give them that opportunity to get back and explain to people and let them know too, like, hey, I know you've been to tons, you've gone through a lot in the last 5 years of trying to find the right help. I'm sure you wish you probably would have found me the first one, right? Well, yeah. Okay, awesome. Well, by you sharing your story, it's going to help other people like you that were in that rat race and that hamster wheel be able to find that help much earlier so they don't have to go through all the frustrations that you did. And also helps us, as you know, we're out of network and we don't get a whole lot of referrals from physicians, and we are based on the reviews and results that we get for patients. Are you down to leave a review to help other people find us that need the help and also help us as a practice be able to help more people too?
Right.
That way, you're good to go.
Right. If the Salvation Army guy can stand outside of Pick and Save and ring a bell and ask every human being that walks by for cash, I think you can ask someone whose life you just changed for a Google review. It's crazy how so many physical therapists, they're such givers. So they resist receiving and asking for anything in return. And so we got to fix that mindset. We got to focus on just every single person, whenever they say anything positive about your care, ask them for a review, because it is the second biggest ranking factor on search engines for your website. And every single person that interacts with your Facebook ads or any other marketing you're going to do today, they're not just going to opt in, they're going to go check out your stuff. And so today it's more important than ever, not just for your website traffic, but also for the success of any advertising or content strategy you do to grow your practice, even in workshops. You think some new gym that you're networking with is going to say yes to you coming in and doing a workshop without first doing their research on you? Ask for reviews. It's not hard. People love to do it. You did a great job. Give them the opportunity, as Ben said, to give back and appreciate you and help support your business.
100%.
Cool, everybody. Those are the 3 biggest marketing strategies to focus on going into 2025. We talked about the shift that are happening in the marketplace and how to stay ahead as a cash physical therapist with all the new consumer behavior changes that we're seeing happen, with the changes that are happening in the social media marketplace. So if you have any questions, want to learn how to run Facebook ads, want to learn how to create short form content, or need help getting a high performing website built, let us know in the comments. We'll follow up with you and share some tools and resources to help you do that so you can make 2025 the best it can be.